The Stoic Guide to Stressful Times, 14 Practices That Work. Have you ever felt like the world is just too much? Like you're constantly rushing, constantly worrying, constantly reacting? We live in stressful times. The economy feels uncertain. News headlines scream chaos. Work demands never end, and digital notifications never stop. On top of that, personal challenges, family pressures, health issues, financial worries keep stacking higher and higher. No wonder anxiety and burnout are at record levels. I know the feeling well. There was a time when every small problem threw me off balance. A harsh email ruined my day. Traffic made me furious. Sleepless nights left me exhausted before the morning even started. Stress wasn't just something I felt, it was running my life. But then I discovered something ancient that completely shifted the way I handled pressure: Stoicism. Now, when most people hear Stoicism, they imagine a cold, emotionless person, but that's not what Stoicism is about. It's not about shutting down your feelings, it's about learning to guide them instead of being controlled by them. Stress, anger, and fear are natural, but they don't have to dictate your life. Stoicism gives you tools to step back, see things clearly, and act with wisdom instead of impulse. Think about it this way. The world will always be unpredictable. You can't control the stock market, politics, or what other people say about you, but you can control how you respond. That's where real freedom lies. What makes Stoicism so powerful is how practical it is. These weren't just theories written for bookshelves, they were survival strategies. Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations not to impress others, but to remind himself how to stay steady while leading an empire under constant threat. Epictetus taught his students to face hardship with dignity and clarity. Seneca offered letters full of advice for handling fear, anger, and loss. And today, in our noisy, stressful modern world, their words are still a lifeline. That's why athletes, soldiers, entrepreneurs, and everyday people turn to Stoicism, not to escape life, but to live it better. Now that you know the foundation, let's move into the heart of this video: 14 Stoic practices you can use right now to handle stressful times and build resilience. The 13 Stoic practices. Practice number 1. Control what you can, let go of what you can't. One of the most powerful lessons in Stoicism is this: focus only on what's within your control. Most of our stress comes from fighting battles we can't win, like trying to control other people's opinions or worrying endlessly about the future. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Think about it. You can't stop traffic, but you can choose how you respond in traffic. You can't control the stock market, but you can control how you manage your money and emotions. You can't change someone else's behavior, but you can control your own actions and boundaries. When you learn to separate what's yours to manage from what's not, a huge weight lifts off your shoulders. Stress shrinks, clarity grows, and suddenly you have the energy to focus on the things that truly matter. Practice number 2. Negative visualization. Prepare for the storm. Here's a practice that surprises many people: negative visualization. At first it sounds pessimistic. Why would you imagine bad things happening? But the Stoics used this as a tool to build resilience. Seneca suggested that we should occasionally picture life without the things we take for granted: our job, our health, even the people we love. The point isn't to make yourself miserable, it's to remind yourself how precious these things are and to prepare your mind for challenges before they arrive. When you practice negative visualization, you stop being shocked by setbacks. Instead of falling apart when life gets tough, you face it with strength. And just as important, it makes you more grateful for what you have right now, in this moment. Practice 3. The dichotomy of control. The Stoics had a simple but life-changing framework called the dichotomy of control. It divides everything in life into two categories: things we can control and things we can't. Stress often comes from mixing these up. We obsess over the weather, the economy, or what others think of us, all things outside our control. Meanwhile, we ignore what is within our reach: our choices, our habits, our words, our mindset. Epictetus taught that freedom begins when we stop wasting energy on the uncontrollable and put it into what truly belongs to us: our own actions. This shift doesn't just reduce anxiety, it builds confidence. Because the moment you focus on what's in your control, you regain power over your life. That's the essence of Stoic resilience. Practice 4. Voluntary discomfort. Training for hardship. The Stoics believed comfort can make us weak, while challenge makes us strong. That's why they practiced voluntary discomfort. Seneca, one of Rome's wealthiest men, would sometimes eat simple food, wear rough clothing, and sleep on the floor. He reminded himself, "Is this what I feared?" By choosing discomfort in small doses, he became less afraid of losing luxury and more resilient to hardship. Today, you can practice this in simple ways. Take a cold shower, skip a meal, or leave your phone behind for a few hours. These small acts train your mind to stay calm when things don't go your way. Instead of being controlled by fear of discomfort, you learn that you can handle much more than you thought. That confidence is the foundation of true inner peace. Practice 5. Journaling for clarity and calm. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, kept a personal journal never meant for anyone else to read. Those writings became the Meditations, one of the most powerful Stoic texts we have today. Why did he write? To remind himself of what mattered, to process stress, to sharpen his mind against fear, anger, and distraction. Journaling remains one of the simplest yet most effective Stoic practices. Each morning, you can write down what you want to focus on and how you want to respond to challenges. At night, reflect on what went well, what didn't, and what you learned. This habit creates space between you and your emotions. Instead of reacting on impulse, you slow down, gain perspective, and choose wisely. In stressful times, that clarity is priceless. Practice 6. Memento mori. Remember, you will die. One of the most famous Stoic practices is memento mori, Latin for remember that you will die. At first, it sounds dark, even depressing, but for the Stoics, it was the opposite, a reminder to live fully. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." When you reflect on mortality, stress loses some of its grip. The little frustrations, traffic, rude people, minor setbacks suddenly seem small compared to the bigger picture. Instead of wasting time on anger or worry, you focus on what truly matters: love, kindness, courage, presence. Memento mori isn't about fearing death, it's about valuing life. When you carry this perspective, every moment becomes more meaningful, and your resilience in stressful times grows stronger. Practice 7. Amor fati. Love your fate. The Stoics didn't just teach us to accept life's challenges, they encouraged us to love them. This idea is called amor fati, or love of fate. Instead of saying, "Why me?" when something goes wrong, the Stoic response is, "Why not me? This is my chance to grow." Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that obstacles aren't interruptions to life, they are part of life. Think about a difficult moment you faced, maybe losing a job, a breakup, or an unexpected setback. In the moment, it felt painful,
But looking back, maybe it shaped you into who you are today. That's amor fati in action. When you learn to embrace, not just tolerate what happens, stress transforms into strength. Life stops being an enemy to fight and becomes a teacher guiding you forward. Practice 9. Practice gratitude daily. Stress often pulls our focus toward what's missing, what's wrong, or what could go badly. The Stoics flipped this around by practicing daily gratitude. Seneca advised his students to notice the simple blessings of life, the warmth of the sun, a safe home, a loyal friend. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning to be thankful simply for waking up and being alive. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship, it balances it. When you train your mind to recognize what's good, you build resilience against what's difficult. Stress no longer dominates your perspective because gratitude widens it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful antidotes to stress. Practice 10. Focus on your character, not your reputation. One of the deepest sources of stress comes from worrying about what others think of us. The Stoics warned against this trap. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish or stupid." In other words, stop chasing reputation and start strengthening your character. Reputation depends on things outside your control: gossip, opinions, rumors. But your character, your honesty, your courage, your kindness, that's 100% yours. When you anchor your identity in character, stress fades. Criticism doesn't crush you, and praise doesn't inflate you. You live from principle, not from the shifting approval of the crowd. In stressful times, this is liberating, because the opinions of others rise and fall, but your inner integrity, that's a foundation nothing can shake. In stressful times, this is liberating, because the opinions of others rise and fall, but your inner integrity, that's a foundation nothing can shake. Practice 11. Use challenges as training. The Stoics saw every challenge as a chance to grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they asked, "How can this make me better?" Epictetus compared life's hardships to a wrestling match. The stronger the opponent, the sharper your skills become. Stress, setbacks, and obstacles are not enemies, they're training partners. Think about the last time you faced something hard. Maybe it was a financial struggle, a health scare, or a tough relationship. Looking back, didn't it build some resilience, patience, or wisdom in you? When you reframe challenges as training, stress no longer feels like punishment. It becomes preparation. And with that mindset, you walk into difficult times not with fear, but with courage and readiness. Practice 12. Pause before you react. Most stress isn't caused by events themselves. It's caused by our reactions to them. The Stoics taught the power of pausing before responding. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength often begins with a simple pause. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when you get criticized at work, or when plans fall apart, your first impulse might be anger or panic. But if you pause, even for a few breaths, you create space between the event and your reaction. In that space, you can choose wisdom over impulse, calm over chaos. The pause doesn't erase stress, it prevents stress from running the show. That's Stoic self-mastery in action. Practice 13. Live in agreement with nature. For the Stoics, peace came from living in harmony with nature. not just the natural world, but with human nature and the flow of life. They believed stress often comes from resisting reality, wishing things were different than they are. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Adapt yourself to the life you have been given." This doesn't mean passively accepting injustice or giving up on growth. It means recognizing what's natural and aligning yourself with it. Day turns into night. Seasons change. People make mistakes. Life brings both joy and hardship.
When you stop fighting the natural course of life, you free yourself from unnecessary frustration. You move with the current instead of against it. And in stressful times, that alignment gives you a deep sense of calm and acceptance. Practice 14. Remember that this too shall pass. In the middle of stress, it often feels like the moment will last forever. But the Stoics reminded themselves of a powerful truth. Everything is temporary. Marcus Aurelius wrote often about the passing of time, how empires, wealth, fame, and even personal struggles all eventually fade. Nothing stays the same. When you remember that stress too will pass, you gain perspective. The tough meeting, the sleepless night, the financial worry, they won't define your whole life. They are chapters, not the entire book. This practice doesn't deny your struggles. It puts them in context. And with that context comes hope. Because if everything changes, then even in your hardest moments, you can hold on to the certainty that relief will come. 4. Practical application. Daily routine. Now that we've explored the 14 Stoic practices for stressful times, the real question is, how do you actually apply them in daily life? Knowledge without practice is just theory, but Stoicism is meant to be lived. The good news is, you don't need to overhaul your entire life. Small, consistent steps are enough. Here's one way to build a simple Stoic-inspired daily routine. Morning. Start your day with a few quiet minutes of reflection. Write in a journal like Marcus Aurelius. Ask yourself, what's in my control today? What challenges might I face, and how do I want to respond? This sets your mindset before stress even shows up. During the day, practice pausing before reacting. When something stressful happens, take a breath. Remind yourself of the dichotomy of control. Can I influence this or not? If yes, act wisely. If no, let it go. Use stress as training, an opportunity to practice patience, courage, or resilience. At night, practice gratitude. Write down 3 things you're thankful for. Reflect briefly on your actions. Did I live according to my values? Did I focus on character over reputation? This keeps you grounded, even on stressful days. Weekly practices. Once or twice a week, try voluntary discomfort. Maybe skip that extra comfort, take a cold shower, or spend time without your phone. Train your resilience in small ways so you're ready for bigger challenges. Also, practice the view from above. Step back and see life from a larger perspective. Mindset anchors. Keep reminders of Stoic wisdom around you. A quote on your desk, a note on your phone, or even a bracelet can serve as a trigger to reset your thinking when stress rises. Remember, Stoicism is not about being perfect. It's about practicing. Every day is a new chance to get a little better at responding with calm, clarity, and strength. And the more you live these principles, the less stress controls you, and the more peace and resilience you build. 5. Closing. Final inspiration. We've just walked through 14 Stoic practices for stressful times. And here's the truth. Stress will never fully disappear. Life will always bring challenges, uncertainty, and moments of pressure. But the way you respond, that's where your freedom lies. The Stoics remind us that peace isn't found in controlling the outside world, it's found in mastering ourselves.
By practicing gratitude, remembering what truly matters, and facing challenges as opportunities, you turn stress from an enemy into a teacher. Marcus Aurelius faced wars and political chaos, yet he still wrote about kindness, patience, and perspective. Seneca endured exile and loss, yet he found wisdom in hardship. Epictetus was born a slave, yet he discovered freedom in mastering his own mind. If they could find calm in the storms of their time, so can we. Imagine what your life could look like if you carried these practices with you. Instead of reacting with panic, you pause. Instead of drowning in stress, you rise above it. Instead of fearing challenges, you use them to grow. So as you go back into your daily life, remember, stress may knock on your door, but it doesn't have to run your house. You have tools, wisdom, and resilience within you. Live with clarity, courage, and calm, because that is the Stoic way. Thank you for watching. If this video on Stoicism and handling stress gave you value, make sure to like it, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Philosophy for Healing for more practical wisdom to improve your life. Your support helps us reach more people who are searching for peace, strength, and clarity in stressful times. And let me know in the comments, which Stoic practice are you going to try first? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and keep practicing Stoicism.